Whose nation is this? Whose nation is this? I ask you, do you think of this as your nation? As you all know, I asked my guest, if the United States was a woman, what would you say to her? But however you envision this nation, as a woman, as a man, as a thing, as an ideal, as an idea, whose is it? And do you think of it as yours? Just a few days ago, there was a terrorist attack, a racist attack on a grocery store in a black community, and it was the color of the skin of these Americans that was targeted. And I think that it's fair to say that for many white supremacists, this nation is their nation. And if you're African American, to them, this is not your nation. But to you, is it your nation? A lot of times when brothers ask the question about if the U.S. was a woman, there will sometimes be a question like, why don't you love all your children? Or, I've done so much for you. Why do you still treat me so poorly? There's no need for me to go through all of the forms of structural discrimination that exist, all of the ways that laws have been written that disadvantage or outright harm African Americans. But during the Civil Rights Movement, I think it's fair to say that most African Americans at that time did see this nation as their nation. Many African American men had just come back from fighting against crazy in Europe. And when they came back and experienced crazy here, and by crazy I mean the kind of discrimination that can steal a soul, that can kill a body. When they came back and experienced it here after fighting it there, and putting their lives on the line for this nation, they felt like this nation, it belonged to them as much as anyone of lighter skin, of European descent. And the women who stayed here, African American women who worked in the factories and supported the war effort in the ways that they did, or as nurses, in whatever capacity, they too saw this as their nation, and their children did. And thus, in the 60s, 20 years later, there was this uprising, this is not okay. The sentiment of the time is, this is my nation. I think Martin Luther King Jr. saw this as his nation. And I guess I'm wondering, do you? I'm wondering, do I? I do, but it strikes me that so often other people don't see African Americans as full inheritors, full co-owners in this nation. And it also occurs to me that there's some subtle shame that we experience as African Americans in loving and claiming this nation. I won't speak for you, I'll speak for myself. There's no other nation that I know or grew up in. My great-great-grandparents are from here. Now, if I go back great, they're from someplace else. But I heard this interesting little thing on the news. Just the other day, they were interviewing some folks in Forsyth County, Georgia, and they went to a very red area. And there was a woman, she had an accent, and she was talking about how she hoped Stacey Abrams did not become the governor of Georgia, how horrible that would be. And I can't recall the exact words she used, but it almost sounded like, how dare some foreigner. Except that wasn't her accent, by the way. It wasn't Southern. This woman's accent was German. She was an immigrant in her lifetime, so she immigrated here. And she had so much disdain for the Democrats, the blue, and it's not even about party. Let me say it differently. She seemed to have some disdain for not just Stacey Abrams, but the people who were of a different color. And I'm sure if I were to talk to her, she'd say that's not the case. But it was, And it struck me that here she was, just immigrated in her lifetime, and she felt so entitled to determining how this country goes and entitled to judge who should be here. And I thought, her level of entitlement, I don't always hear that mirrored in the speaking of African Americans. That level of belonging. And it struck me. And over the summer, we're going to get closer and closer to the 2022 election. And the fate of the country rests in that election. I mean, it sounds so dramatic to say that, right? Almost melodramatic. But the reality is who makes the laws determines the character of our nation. And over the last year and a half, there have been a number of laws passed to limit who can participate, which is a way of limiting, a way of saying who this country belongs to. So as 365 Brothers gets ready to go on a summer hiatus, and oh my gosh, I need it, babies. I need it, y'all. As we get ready to go on this summer hiatus, I really want to leave you with asking, inquiring, whose nation is this? Is it yours? How much do you own it as your nation? And I am speaking to everyone, and I am also especially speaking to African Americans, male or female. Does that little nudge of shame that your country treats you differently in aggregate, not every day, not every moment, not every experience, even if you are doing well? You know, I consider myself to be doing pretty well, and I can honestly say here in California, I don't have the subjective experience of day-to-day racism. I certainly don't have what my mother experienced when she integrated Poly High School. I do not have what my grandparents experienced. I don't have what may be experienced today in certain parts of the South. But there's still, even in liberal California, when I walk down the street, even in sunny, liberal-leaning California, there's still this air when I pass someone of European descent. It's a kind of smile. And maybe you know this smile. It's a smile that's kind of like, I see you. I accept you. That sounds like it should be great, right? Like, isn't that the perfect ally? But no, it's more of a, I who am legitimately American and who legitimately belong on this street, walking wherever I please, acknowledge you as being acceptable to walk down the street as well. You're welcome. And whose country is this? And what are we willing to do to have it be the way we want? What are you willing to do? What am I willing to do? Is voting enough? Should we be forming our own party? It's probably not likely to do much. It'd be hard to raise that money. Hard to compete with the two stalwarts of politics in the United States. Okay, so if not a party, then what? More fundraising? Maybe it's just a matter of being more aware. Maybe, just maybe, if we're going to continue to live here and we're actually trying to build something for our families, for our communities, then maybe we should act like we own it. And I don't know about you, but if I own something, I want to know how it works. And if I own something, I want to make the most of it, especially if it costs me something, or if it costs my family something, if it costs my ancestors something. If it costs people lives, then maybe I should act like I own it. 365 Brothers will be back. Just wanted to let you know. If you don't know, I do my half marathons. I'm going to get back in it this summer. It's been really busy teaching and doing the podcast. Like I said, taking a break. Here's what I do ask of you, though. I've got a little Google form in the show notes. If you have some ideas, some suggestions, some things that you think I should change, or some things you think that would be cool, please let me know. I've been doing this solo for 2 years and 130 brothers, and we got about 230 brothers to go. So there's an opportunity to make this something that you're interested in, that I love to do, and that the brothers are excited to be a part of. So I'm really interested in collaborating and hearing what you because there's a lot I don't know. Believe it or not, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I don't even get to listen to a lot of podcasts. You could probably tell from my production, huh? I know I shouldn't say that out loud. But I am going to listen to quite a few this summer just to get some ideas and improve. But I also know that some of you have already done that work. You've listened to a lot of shows, and maybe you've had some ideas and thought, well, if she wanted to do that, she would do it. I guess she can't do it. And maybe I can't, but maybe I just don't know. So if you have some ideas, please let me know. Last couple things for today. If you are not a subscriber on YouTube, please do, please do, please do. And I want to acknowledge 4 people out loud as we finish up this season. These are my 4 faithful founding partners in getting this up. They have contributed since the very beginning faithfully to 365 Brothers, and I am forever grateful to them. I'm going to have a page up just dedicated to sharing who they are, but they are one of my best buds, Abigail Gonzalez, 2 of my earliest guests, Mr. William Hamilton and Mr. Shedrick Sanders. Both of them so faithful in contributing, also have provided me several guests to be on the show. And, just a ton of love that comes my way from these brothers, and I'm grateful. And then not least, but only last, because I got to go in order some kind of way, is Sanji Walker. And see, I can make her last because she and I, we share a birthday. And she is a buddy. We've done some half marathons together. She lives in the Bay Area, and I am so grateful for the support. I mean, you talk about being here from day one. This sister got behind me and has just been a consistent support, just a joy. And like I said, we share a birthday, so we like twins. And that's including a year, y'all. You see, because great minds think alike. That's how that works. Anyway, I just want to wish all of you a wonderful summer. I want to thank you for all the episodes you've listened to. I want to invite you to go back and listen to any episodes you missed while we're away. I'll most likely post something short in June that will announce our actual return date and what's in store. Don't forget to fill out that Google form. Don't forget to subscribe. Follow us at 365 Brothers on Instagram. And please do receive all this love I'm sending your way. I'm sending you love. Can you feel it in your heart chakra? Is it warm? That's me. All right. I love you. Bye. Thank you for listening to 365 Brothers. I certainly hope you enjoyed the episode. I encourage you to subscribe. Please leave a review. I want to know what you think. Also, if you know someone who would be a fantastic guest for 365 Brothers, please direct them to our website, 365brothers.com. You'll also find all the episodes there, 365brothers.com. And your support is welcome. And remember, to listen is to love. Remember, you can follow us on Instagram at 365 Brothers. Also, follow us on Facebook at 365 Brothers, the podcast. Lastly, I just want to let you know, producing a podcast, it takes something, and I'm really grateful to have partnered with alitu.com. They make publishing easy. There's a link in the show notes for anyone who either has a podcast or is thinking about a podcast. You don't need to learn all that sound balancing and compression. Save all that. Use your time for what matters, interviewing and sharing the stories that your podcast brings.